Let's talk about what actually happened in real estate in 2025. A lot of folks are under the impression that the market was either crashing or completely frozen, and neither of those things is true. So I'm breaking down my top 5 takeaways from the Central Texas real estate market in 2025. This is what we saw play out with real buyers, real sellers, real data, and real outcomes.
The winners of 2025 were the people that were willing to seize the opportunity. One of the clearest lessons of 2025 is this: the people who won were willing to do what most people were not. If we rewind to 2020, 2021, and part of 2022, everyone was buying real estate. The demand was wild, competition was intense, and prices also followed that. Buying felt safe because everyone was doing it, but buyers also paid a premium for that certainty. We call it herd mentality. 2025 was the exact opposite. Sales were down, fewer buyers were active, and the shift changed everything. Lower demand created leverage for buyers, and leverage created opportunity. For instance, we helped one buyer negotiate over $150,000 off new construction pricing. Not only that, we helped them secure significant closing cost credits, buy down their interest rate, and negotiate meaningful upgrades. That wine room is going to look beautiful. These weren't rare situations. This was the reality for prepared buyers willing to act in a slower market. There is a saying that fits this year perfectly: when others get greedy, I get worried, and when others get worried, I get greedy. 2025 was a worried market, and the people who seized the opportunity have been rewarded. I say this personally. I bought a home in 2025 because I see the opportunity. Historically, mortgage rates average in the mid sixes, and we are currently in the lower sixes. These rates are not extreme, but what is different is the pricing. We've seen deflation and softening across many Central Texas markets. So the takeaway is simple: opportunity did not disappear in 2025. It just shifted. And the people willing to seize it are setting themselves up for long-term wins.
2025 was the year of stabilization that our market needed. Nationally, this year ended with about 4.1 million units sold. That's less than the predictions we had at the beginning of the year, but a slower market does not necessarily mean an unhealthy one. Locally in the Austin and Central Texas area, we saw about a 4% decrease in units closed. But here's what mattered: prices held. Median home prices stayed relatively flat, while we did see an increase in days on market over 2024 numbers. That doesn't mean we were in a distressed market. That means we were in a stabilizing market. We did see average prices rise, but then they pulled back a little bit. According to the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, there are projections for increases of up to 14% in homes sold next year. If that holds, then 2025 will be remembered as the year we reset. The market stabilized and recalibrated moving into 26. Stabilization years are not exciting, but they create balance, normalize expectations, and set the stage for sustainable growth going forward. Chaos and confusion led to indecision, and hesitation cost people opportunity. One of the most consistent patterns we saw across 2025 was indecision. There was so much noise, so much hesitation, conflicting headlines, and ultimately a wait and see vibe appeared. There's a quote that fits perfect here: confusion prevents commitment, and hesitation creates missed opportunity. On the buy side, we saw buyers look at the same home 3 and 4 times, and even though the home fit, they chose to wait and see in case something else came along that was better. And while they waited, other buyers slipped in and took the home. On the sell side, we saw strong offers come in that sellers passed up, waiting for a better offer that never arrived. In the era of artificial intelligence, real estate is not just data and analytics, it's human. It's not spreadsheets. And emotion played a huge role this year, as fear, fatigue, and uncertainty, all on the heels of years of volatility, played a big part. The buyers and sellers who did the best were not the ones who waited for perfect clarity to make a decision. They were the ones who moved forward with information and a strategy and made decisions and moved forward with life. Hesitation was expensive this year.
2025 was not the market where you could just jump in with both feet and hope for the best. On the buy side, the strongest buyers were incredibly prepared. They studied neighborhoods, understood pricing, they knew their lending options, and they were patient, informed, and decisive when the right opportunity showed up. On the sell side, preparation was a non-negotiable. There was no throwing a sign in the yard and a house on the market and calling it a day. Sellers had to minimize every objection. Maintenance, paint, flooring when needed, staging, and strong marketing mattered more than ever. The homes that sold well looked like the best option available, but the ones who cut corners paid for it with longer days on market and price reductions. One of the reasons we were one of the highest producing teams in 2025 is simple. We understand what it takes to win in this kind of market, and we are not willing to cut corners. Preparation shows, effort shows, and it makes all the difference.
My final takeaway for 2025 is this. I think 2026 will be better. I don't think it's going to be a knockout year. And I think that any appreciation will be limited. And candidly, I think the 14% projection may be a bit optimistic. But stronger, yes. I expect more buyers to re-enter the market in 2026 as confidence improves. And for sellers, I think that we'll see the properties that didn't sell in 25 will come back with better presentation, better strategy, and possibly better representation and more realistic pricing. Whatever it takes to get the property sold. One indicator that makes me optimistic is actually internal. Our best month this year was in the summer, which you would expect. But you know what? Our second best month was actually December. Yes, some of that is year end and tax planning and that sort of thing. But I also believe there's increased confidence. After 3 rate reductions from the Fed, people are starting to get on with their lives. And that increased confidence is how we're headed into 2026. If I had to look further out, I'll be honest, I'll say 2027 is more likely to be the breakout year. But for 2026, I see us moving forward healthier, more confident, and more active than what we just came through. 2025 rewarded clarity, preparation, and decisiveness. If you're moving into 2026 with questions, informed decision making and strategy will be way more important than trying to time the headlines.